Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here for the 31st episode of Cultist Simulator, the Priest Legacy, playing as Harold Davidson. So, we have been building up to this quite a bit. I sort of lost track of time. I probably should have started the service and all of that at the beginning of this episode here. But we are to become a threshold. My people stand before me, voices raised in song, faces upraised aflame. There are doors that few ever see, fewer yet ever open. If I'm willing to suffer the consequences, I might someday become one of those doors for my congregation to pass. Knock, and ye shall be opened. Now, as far as the study verb is concerned, we don't really have any... Oh, sorry, we're going to read Matthias and Amethyst Imago Loss. I did read this at the end of the previous episode, but some of you will be watching this after 24 hours, so an account of an occult romance. A certain Para, son of Aaron, claims to have written this in a single day and a single night as part of his initiation to the Damascene branch of the House of Leith, that tight disciplined order of immortals who reject their past and future. Now, well, we'll finish reading this first, so... The laws of the house forbade Matthias to love. The customs of the wood forbade the imago to remain. So he conjured her a final time, and when she had uncovered the sheath of Alcapura, she suffered him to cut the wings from her back so that she might remain, and he suffered her to cut off the parts that hold a man's seed, to keep them from the detestable act. This was love in all its blood and joy. We have cast out Matthias from the house. So, I'm going to have a bit of a dilemma ahead of me. So we've got some remaining sort of sites on the continent to explore, as well as whatever we can get for Forbidden Epics. Now, under normal circumstances, what I would like to do is try to level up as many Forgotten Chronicles as I can into Forbidden Epics to get as many locations to do in one big grouping. However, because one of my big goals now is to get level 10 lore, I'm also going to want to spend some glimmering and erudition to advance things like my moth, well, particularly my moth, because that's the one most immediately available to me. But lantern would be good, as well as winter. And of course, that's going to create a little bit of tension in terms of my available erudition and glimmering. In fact, it may have been a bit smarter for me to do the commissions when I was ready to do those upgrades, because right now the erudition and glimmering is all just sort of rotting away. But that's fine. I mean, you can't do everything all at once. In the meantime, though, we are going to proceed with what we've already got available. Right now I'm just preserving the raw profit and the hint because my work slots being occupied with other tasks. And we have another season of suspicion coming up, so I probably... Well, we've got rid of the evidence, so I think we're just going to take the hit. No point... If I try to send out my heart follower, they're going to have to get through 4 different types of reputation, so I think we'll just accept the hit. Trap. The urgency of appetite. It is difficult to control oneself. A 6th-order influence, significant resonances, or correspondences. This can be used in some rites to summon minions. The Ascent of Knives is called the Sharp Stair and the Mother of Mirrors and the Feast of the Grail. If one is to look beneath the stair, as I did last night in my dreams, one understands that last name. It draws a tithe of blood from the feet of those who ascend. Empausi, some shaped like men, many shaped like women, wait beneath the glass of the stair to satisfy their hunger. I did not approach. I made no sound. I only observed. Of course, we saw or read a reference to the Empausi back in Karisham. Okay, again, there's always the question about what I want to do with the dream verb, but right now, going to the stag door and getting as many, or as much lore as I can is the best in my opinion. So, the stag door is the adept's gate. To pass it is to be initiated into the first true mystery of the House of the Sun. The head Gearby weeps to see me enter where it cannot, but it must let me pass. The scarred valves of the door grind open. And I can get a commission from Count Jannings if I would like, but we need to make sure that we have we don't have other needs for the talk verb. This plate merits closer investigation. So the Vanderschaft collection. Once again, explore the continent. All right, so we've got our commissions ready to go when the time comes. The congregation is satisfied by my mortifications, but that divine spark is absent. To create a lock scar... What? I already have the restlessness, though. Ah, okay, I was one behind. So, the congregation is satisfied by my mortifications, but that divine spark is absent. So, the deacon now reads from the Book of Respicius. Bronze shapes, but the heart labors. Hunger shows the red cup, and sickness the snow. The lantern knows, while moth understands, and the sword, when it comes, is its own answer. So, we will now add vitality. The vision of the pines. In the vision, the trunks of the pines are lit by the fire, but the shadows of the dancers come and go in a zoetrope flicker. With each stroke of the drum, I am freed from another slip of skin, but it is not St. Agnes who holds the knife, and at last I can bear no more, and all the pent screams burst from me. Alright. Playing with fire here, but let's get a commission from Count Jannings. Yes, well, after describing what's happening to me right now, apparently talking with Jannings is the playing with fire. The right of the map's edge was given to us by the Vagabond. It is the right that Matthias used to summon the Amethyst Imago, but like many summoning rites, it could be used to conjure almost any entity, given the appropriate tool and the appropriate influence. Use it gently, in memory of the name and the long who suffered these agonies that they might be joined. So another Ecdysis parable, and we've of course already got the right of the map's edge, but there we go, brand new one. Alright, so let me think about the study verb. Probably, well, I've got the erudition here, so if I did want to move up the Moldy Warp admonitions, again, it's glimmering and a rarefied mind. So, seems to me like we want to study passion. Read sentimental literature. If I proposed to learn anything, I wouldn't be reading this stuff. Okay, so using a suspicion coming up, so it means I may lose the hint, but... So now we'll talk with Dr. Redeem. The doctor would like help with his research. Wow, he went right for the notoriety. Fair enough. Secret histories. Got 12 seconds, so we should be able to handle it. I'm ready to improve. The painted river runs from a great chamber near the white door, far through the mansus, to its far edge where it enters a painted delta of far cloud. I voyaged half its length last night with a stern-faced captain beneath a rust-red sail. As the clouds rose before us, the sailors raised a yearning shanty and close-hauled the sails to best use the painted wind. And all the while, the captain and I discoursed on the secrets of the House of the Sun. So this is mostly just so I have erudition in my pocket. I'm not going to use it for a while, so just having the lesson learned lets me keep it for a bit longer. Okay. So yeah, the hint's almost expired, but I'm going to try and keep it around for as long as possible because I just need 30 seconds before I can try summoning it again. And the congregation has donated generously, and they haven't limited those donations to the collection plate. Alright, here's what she needs, a very substantial commission on Moth, which may generate a restlessness, but we'll see. Okay, so we'll talk with the Raw Prophet. Raw Prophet's going to be dealing with the evidence when it comes. But right now I want to try and preserve the hint for as long as I can. And we have Chateau Reveline. Back to the Forgotten or the continent, rather. Little wars, great intrigues, cryptic priesthoods, mystic crimes. All past now, but what traces did they leave? And I should have gone back to the stag door immediately. So, once again, we use our reason. See where it takes us. Now, Season of Ambitions is coming up. I don't think I'm going to have the Moth upgraded in time, but we will do our best. Actually, I don't see that working at all, but My congregation have waited all night in vigil. I am awake. The only wound I can see is the one above my heart, and that will heal in time, but the scar will remain. Health has been permanently converted to a scar. There are always 7 marks. You will need 7 lock scars. There is always a way, though the way may be narrow. So this is where the playthrough's been going all along. This is what the priest legacy is. So we've got our first lock scar, in this case the heart lock scar. When I am threshold, the scar will open at the beat of the drum. So the lock scar has got aspect knock, 2 heart. It is a tool and aspect lock scar. Perhaps a serpent has kissed me, perhaps a knife has drunk of me, perhaps I dreamt too sharp a dream. In a rite with sufficient intensity of knock, this scar might open. So we need to find a special place for those. Let's put them up in the corner here. So this is why I've been working towards level 10. This is why I've been working towards level 10 lore. As you can see, like I've got quite a way to go, but it suddenly gives the relevance as to why I was pursuing that glimmering, why I want to use my why I'm particularly going towards the moth influence right now, because I'll have the glimmering from sentimental literature, I'll have the restlessness reasonably soon, and so there's a very outside chance. In fact, this does mean I'm going to have to sacrifice the hint, but I think it's worth sacrificing the hint for this. So again, we're going to do a passionate sermon on the Formula Vigilant, just because it's the highest level. I will speak to their souls, and if I speak with conviction, their souls may answer me. I pass the time, I have been inclined to tears, and afterwards inclined to laughter. Meanwhile, the world continues. So, let's try and move the Moldy Warp admonitions up. When the breath is black and when breath is black at the glass, when mist tautens the skin, when woods walk in winter, we hear these words. So yeah, like I said, I think it's very unlikely I'm going to have enough time to do this, but it does take a little while for this to generate restlessness. Alright, I'm certain that my adversary has lodged a copy of their notes elsewhere, with their solicitor, with their superior, or even with a contact in the press. This is troubling. So, hint goes away. My scheme will most likely succeed, but there's always a chance that something will go awry. And we do have a Season of Visions coming up, so I am making a pretty big sacrifice here. Okay, so restlessness. I need to either find a way to preserve it, or I need to use it. Into light. Wisdom is a country, and these are its maps. Solve the challenges on both fragments of lore. I think I'll just take the subtle rupture. In sleep, I ran my fingers along the ridged edges of the stag door scars. Our company it was that shattered it, Gearby says suddenly, before the gods who were flesh. The Mansus was forbidden to mortals. We were the first no. He begins again to weep his molten tears. I wish that we had not. I wish that I had died in the world. I've forgotten what else he said, but I remember the shape of the fissures in the stag door, and for all of today, doors will fear my touch. Okay, how do I preserve this restlessness? And the unnumbered stone. So we've got all the locations in the continents. Let's take the Forbidden Epic. Sorry, just taking a minute here to think this through. My minion is returned, and the evidence has been destroyed. I'm a little safer. Alright. So I don't think I can talk to the... Oh, I can talk to it about restlessness. Man, that's really corny, but... I'm taking it. All right, back to the ascent. Now, what I might want to do here is actually try and get the winter lore. So, sometimes my words and those I have borrowed move my congregation beyond mere concentration to exaltation. In the house of the sun, the dance, the angels of glory. Sorry, the dance of the angels of glory does not cease. Those who were cast down, wave or wound or snow, are gone from the house, and as long as their parts in the dance are filled, they may never return. Therefore, let us join hands and add our little steps to the dance. The deeper the lore, the greater the chance of exaltation. So we've got our fervor. We may get some notoriety out of that, but we'll worry about that later. Now, if I'd like, with the work slot, I can do a big painting. Now, the catch is I may generate fascination through that, which could potentially mean 2 fascination on the table. So am I willing to risk that? Or I can let a second fervor decay into dread, and then that'll deal with the fascination as well. Against my better judgment, I do need to make a painting about something though, so Enid. I was wondering if I could do a painting about my scar. Look at my gnarly scar, 1 through 7. Alright, so this is the glimmering one. This is a puzzle with missing pieces. I might find those pieces in odd corners of scholarship. So in 10 seconds, the Season of Visions gets fed a fascination. And the congregation has donated generously, and they haven't limited those donations to the collection plate. Utter focus. All that I am is here. Nothing. My words cease like sand in a glass. And Voivode's Citadel. So again, we're getting close to a time where I'm going to be going on expeditions anyway. I'll probably want to do a second summoning anyway, but for now, okay, looks like we didn't generate fascination, which is good. My recent work is considered significant. I may yet earn a living from this, but nothing is certain. Now, the whole point was not really generating the mystique or anything, but it was to try and get rid of the staleness. So the question is, did we succeed? We did. Okay. And have some money to boot. Okay, so I suppose the next question is, what do I want to do with my different verbs? I do need to start collecting some money, but I think I can do some commissions in the meantime. So very substantial on heart. That will require reason and passion. So I need 2.7 seconds before I can do that. I can never remember it. Let's do, yep. This will get me my dread. Winter passes the clothes, passes the skin, nestles in the veins. I visited the ascent of Knives last night, that harshest of roads through the house. It has been sacred to the Menascate and the sun and rags since the intercalate, when the true sun was divided. When I woke, my room was freezing. The chill of it had cracked the window glass. And we go back to the stag door. Okay, so let's do that commission on heart. You know what? Vitality's never a bad thing to have. Write an extensive treatise on heart lore. This may be useful for a commission. As you can see, this is definitely a this is a long time to be keeping the restlessness. I don't know what made me think that I would have that ready in time. All right, so this is the one where I can use the rarefied mind. Season of Visions. This is already happening, so we're gonna need to wait a while on the bitter atmosphere, but we should be fine. Essentially, I am, however, banning myself from the painted river because that can generate fascination, and I'm really not in a state to be able to work with that. And we should be able to use that fervor before it expires. It'll be close though, so I need to make sure I don't lock up the work verb. Oh my goodness, I can talk to it about fervor too. All right. Okay, so one more forbidden epic until I start researching the lore. Oh man. I kind of hate that I'm doing this, but yeah, got it. The attention of the hours is drawn to the bloodiest wars. Afterwards, the histories are braided like hair. So it's just another spot to explore. Good for me. There's a great chamber in the mansis through which a painted river flows. The vagabond, it is claimed, painted it from memory in the years before she left the house. Certainly, there are histories concealed in its design. I traced them with my hand last night, and there were fragments of aquamarine paint beneath my nails, flecks of gold leaf when I was done. We're also going to be able to upgrade right now 2, and then if I can move the Furtive Truths up, 3 more forbidden epics when the time comes. So there's the commission. So I have less than a minute to get everything dealt with here. So I definitely don't want to be doing any studying. It's really just a question in terms of how long we can hold out here, really. We can still keep going through the stag door, though. "30 seconds! Now I understand. Okay, Season of Suspicion coming up, but we haven't generated any notoriety, so we'll be fine. It's really just a matter of waiting to strike with the work verb. I've increased my mastery of the lore of the wood, which we call by its aspect moth. We've got the Centipede Testament. The centipede came up out of the sands and went in under the roots. She found a new home, but now she can't go home. She creeps in everywhere else, keyholes and histories, and the channels of birth and sight and hearing. Here's what she has to say. Now, it just occurred to me, for all my work, I do not yet have a glimmering, which I'm going to require. Fortunately, this I think I can actually get in time for the service. So, Fervor, Centipede Testament, Passion. No, Heart. My people stand before me, voices raised in song, faces upraised, aflame. There are doors that few ever see, fewer yet ever open. I am willing to suffer the consequences. I might someday become one of those doors for my congregation to pass. Knock, and ye shall be opened. So the yearning's been picked up. We need to rush and read some sentimental literature. We've got the Kuznetsov Endowment. One more Forbidden Epic. I think that's going to be it, and then I'm going to summon something and send them out to explore all these locations. I may also want to earn a little more money, but we'll worry about that a little bit later. Probably should have just taken the forge, to be honest. I visited the Ascent of Knives last night, that harshest of roads through the house. It has been sacred to the Menascate and the Sun and Rag since the Intercalate, when the true sun was divided. When I woke, my room was freezing. The chill of it had cracked the window glass. And once again, we go back through the stag door. So we're talking to the Raw Prophet to preserve it. Mostly just to resummon it, to be honest. And then for the stag door, we're really trying to get some extra... We're trying to get some extra secret histories, but I'm a little constrained in where I can go until I get rid of the fascination. Fortunately, that's going to go in a little bit. And now we have a Season of Despair. The Season of Despair is not going to hit me. That's going to go into the fascination first. But this bitter atmosphere may be a liability. Alright, the work of the threshold. This could turn into notoriety, by the way. The deacon now reads from the Book of St. Respicius. Bronze shapes, but the heart labors. Hunger shows the red cup, and sickness the snow. The lantern knows while moth understands, and the sword, when it comes, is its own answer. So, the vision of the shearing. In the vision, I see our wings, and I hear the rustling as we unfurl them to the shears. Our abdomens were patterned black and white like bandages, and our beaks scissor sharp. Fold us in the chrysalids, and lock us in the dark, break our eggs and steal our hair, and watch for us within. Should be thinking about what I want to do with my study verb. I could try and do something with winter here. Nope, but what will it take to upgrade some of this lore? I think erudition and glimmering, if I'm not mistaken. This thing's got 163, so it might last long enough. Yeah, I'm gonna run with it. Alright, the Cave of Candles. So normally I'd just be going out on an expedition here, but I don't really have the... I don't quite have the numbers for it. So what I could have done actually was use the raw profit to explore. So I suppose now I can get a follower to run around and do that. I suppose the question then would be, what side effect do I want? Because with talking, I could have turned in the commission. Well, you know what? We can just make a little bit of cash in Oriflammes. So we perch on alarming Rietveld chairs in a windowless auction room with vividly burnt orange walls, waiting for the auctioneer to announce what he's offering. The reek of new paint makes the brain spin. This oddity is probably worth something, but it's hard to be sure. Alright, so that was working as intended. This should just scoop up all of my mystique. The only drawback here is that the exaltation may generate notoriety, so I need to be a little careful about that. God. So I think I'm just going to take the subtle rupture because I've already lost track. In sleep, I ran my fingers along the ridged edges of the stag door's scars. Our company it was that shattered it, Gearby says suddenly. Before the gods who were flesh, the mantis was forbidden to mortals. We were the first no. He begins again to weep his molten tears. I wish that we'd not. I wish that we had died in the world. I've forgotten what else he said, but I remember the shape of the fissures in the stag door, and for all of today, doors will fear my touch. So this is actually not a bad one to pick up, because really, I kind of figure it's not that hard in this game to get to sort of the point I'm at right now. So if you've got a subtle rupture, that'll give you 10 knock. If you have the sunset right or the right of the map sedge, and probably the sunset right will be the most helpful for you here. Really, it's just a question of having, you know, a couple of followers, and you should be able to summon anything you want. Now, again, I'm speaking very loosely, depending on, you know, how you've been spending your time, depending the level of lore that you have. You know, you may that may not be true for you. But I actually do tend to like getting the subtle rupture when I know I need to do summons, because I feel in general it winds up giving me the largest number of options. One exception might be, for me, some Grail would be nice for language purposes. But we won't worry about that too much right now. There's just simply other things that I can be focusing on. Although I am going to go back to the stag door. I'm going to do my best to... I think I'm going to be a little... Oh, of course I get a notoriety. Alright, well, we've got our raw profit for a reason. I'm going to go a little bit over, but I do want to finish the vision of the shearing, so... Okay, So if I can do something to delay the icy atmosphere, that's one thing I can do. Murmurings in the audience. For whatever unlikely reason, my item has caught the fancy of the bidders. And a fleeting reminiscence. Mirrors are calm, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I'm saying if that means anything. No fascination drives your visions, it's over for now. And a season of sickness is coming up, so if I can find a way to get some vitality, so much the better. But I have a feeling we're probably just going to get hit by the sickness. My congregation have waited all night in vigil. I am awake. The double wound on my back will heal, but the scar will remain. Health has been permanently converted to a scar. There were always 7 marks. You will need 7 lock scars. There is always a way, though the way may be narrow. So one of the reasons why it says that, so those of you who have not played this DLC, like I said, this is the one that seems to be the least popular among Cultist Simulator fans. It's actually the one that I've very much enjoyed. I found this very memorable. Although this was also the one where the designer had sort of had a break from writing content, and so I believe they've even said that they didn't feel quite at the height of their powers. Although that might have just been something that was said after the response to the game. But I do find this a really unique one, and I think one of the things that is most interesting about it, in addition to just kind of the topic, it's the fact that if you take a look, so when it's telling you, there's always a way through. So let me just say, when I am a threshold, the scar will answer to the scissors. So notice here, we've got this system, right? We had 5 health at the start. We're down to 3. We've generated 2 lock scars. So let's say, okay, if we just go by the ones that we've got a high level for, our most likely future scars are going to be Forge, Edge, and Lantern. Okay, all well and good. But what about Winter, Grail, and Knock, right? I've only got 3 health, and of course if I have no health and there's a season of sickness that comes by, that's game over. So some of you will know how to solve this. Some of you may not have played this. I will maybe telegraph when I'm about to solve that puzzle, because it's actually probably the puzzle I've struggled with the most in Cultist Simulator before I got it. It's actually one that really strikes the heart of the way that I play this game, because I got to play this game when it was an early alpha, and I've developed a lot of habits in the game, and I tend to be very bad at growing out of them. And this was actually one in particular that I really needed to let go of some old conceptions about how to play this game. So this is a neat puzzle. So if you want to think a little bit about some of the future in terms of Harold Davidson, assuming that we want to continue generating these scars, we know that I'm going to need 7 of these. The question is going to become, how do I get, let's just say that the sickness problem has been handled. It hasn't, but let's just pretend. You can think to yourself, how would I achieve 7 scars? And as it says, the way may be narrow, but there is always a way. And it's a bit of a fun one. The only thing I will ask is, if you know the answer to this, I'm going to be taking the time to let people know when the solution. I have definitely completed this DLC, so I know how to do it. The specifics of how the different events work, but this is one that I would actually maybe say, if you know the answer, maybe please keep that to yourself, because obviously there's going to be some people who might actually want to go out and try this on their own. But it'll be something that you can sort of think about as we go through, and maybe, particularly if you haven't played this DLC, maybe you will arrive at the answer before I get there. Or if nothing else, and you haven't tried this DLC yet, maybe that'll motivate an opportunity for you to give it an attempt. But either way, thank you very much for watching. If you've been enjoying the series and are not yet subscribed, please consider leaving a subscription, or hitting the subscription button. And of course, if you hit the bell, it will let you know when there's new episodes coming online. And as always, I do appreciate any likes and comments that you offer. They do help the episodes get noticed, and it has been a delight to interact with all of you. I think this should be the last episode for the week. I'm recording these all in advance. But assuming that I get my timing right, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I will be back on Monday to continue the story of Harold Davidson, the priest. But until then, have a lovely evening, and please take care.